This podcast is sponsored by Kangen Water. Change your water. Change your life. Status. Well, hello, Shan.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
As good as I can be, probably, considering our worldly circumstances.
I'm loving the positivity. I'm really excited to have you here. I haven't had a lot of ladies on my couch lately.
Me either.
You like the ladies?
Sometimes.
Yeah, me too. Sometimes. It's a mood thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, what brought you in today?
There's just a lot going on in the world, and I don't know. I'm a little like introspective, I guess, lately.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what have you been introspecting?
Well, I feel like the last 2 months, time has just felt like, I feel like it's been like 10 years. So I've just been thinking about like how to live in the moment, I don't know.
That's really important, living in the moment. I've been working on that too. It's interesting how there are moments where our periods in our lives where we're so present and so fulfilled, and then we have these weeks or days where we're just in our brains. It's terrible.
Yeah. Brains suck.
Brains do suck. Have you been in your brain lately, or you're pretty good about staying in the present?
I've been drinking a lot, so I've been pretty good at staying in the present.
Yeah, drinking can help for that reason, as long as you're using it in a healthy way. Yeah, that's why they call it a spirit, so to speak, because it can be a joyful spirit, but if you drink the wrong kind of alcohol that doesn't suit with you, it could turn into a demon.
Oh, yeah, for sure, definitely.
Or a deity, an evil one. Just keep the scotch away from me.
Yeah.
I do have some wine.
Thank you.
If you would like some. I usually don't like to push alcohol on my new clients, so to speak, but I figured, it's a ladies' day. It's not very often I get a lady on my couch and loosen you up a little bit.
Perfect. We love wine.
We do love wine. We do.
These glasses are really special.
Yes. I don't remember where I got them. Most likely the dollar store. Because I'm cheap. So, tell me, what's been bothering you lately?
Mostly like, I don't know. I feel like I just have had like a weird quarter life crisis. When all this happened, I lost my job. And then I had just started comedy. I had just left a job that I was at for a really long time. And then, other than that, I've just been seeing the same, 5 people. And, some days I, love them, and then other days I'm like, I just want to see a new person.
Yeah.
Anybody new, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why you're here. You wanted to see a new face.
Yeah, I needed to see a new face.
I appreciate that. So are you in a good place after losing your job?
I mean, I'm on unemployment, and I'll have a job to go back to if I want it. I think this whole thing has made me think, hey, maybe I don't want to be working at this type of bar, or, maybe I want to put more effort into comedy and things that I creatively like.
So a new comedian, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
How has it been so far?
It's actually been, it sounds so weird given the circumstances, but it's been really great for me. I only really got into it because I was I used to go to my friends' open mics all the time when they would perform. And so what's really cool is I already was in a friend group with primarily comedians, and so there's just been a lot of support from them and then from complete internet strangers on all these virtual mics. Yeah.
So is that mostly what you've been doing, or did you do a couple regular open mics before?
Yeah, I did 3. I did 3 regular open mics.
Where'd you go?
The first one was at Devil's. It wasn't, I was not planning to go up. I was just there to watch. The day before, I had quit my job at Apple, where I was for 3 years. And then I was just going to watch, and then all of a sudden I was like, fuck it, I'll throw my name in the hat. Basically, and then the second place I went was the Concierge, where my friend runs a show there, or ran a show there. And
Who's
then
your friend?
Cam Sneed.
Oh, he's been dodging me. I've been trying to get him on this couch.
He does that.
He does do that. I think I intimidate him because I'm the woman of his dreams.
That's probably exactly what it is.
He's very shy. I tend to like shy men because the aggressive side of me wants to come out, but it's borderline predator. And with the whole Me Too movement going on, I don't want to be associated with the negative side of it. So anyway, I'm sorry. This isn't about me. This is about you. So you did the Concierge at Cam's show.
Yeah.
And then you did another one?
And then the first one that I actually wrote jokes for was at the is it called the Woodshed?
The Woodshed?
Yeah. I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
I've actually never been there, but Alice Valapi was running a good show there, and then she switched it over to the ramen house. I forgot the name of it.
I don't know, but that's why I went, is because Alice and Cam were both there, and so I was just like, heck, I'll go to another one. And I actually wrote jokes
This is
that night.
tasty.
It's so sweet.
This is dangerous.
Yeah, way too.
Yum, yum, yum. So how did those first 3, well, tell me about the first experience. How did you feel?
I honestly, it was so frustrating because I used to hate stand-up comedy. And so when I went up there and I just told a story, like a true story of something that happened to me, and I filmed my whole 5 minutes, and like I got a lot of laughs, but the best thing about it was that it just felt so like natural coming out of me. I love public speaking to start with, and then on top of that, like, I don't know, it just felt like the best kind of attention, I think.
The ego liked it.
Yeah, the ego liked it. And then I didn't know if I was going to do another one. And what actually happened is I was shopping at Buffalo Exchange, and I parked next to Urban Beans. So I decided to go get coffee afterwards. And, well, my dad is a comedian.
Oh.
Okay, so when I went to that first show...
Is that why you hate it? Do you hate your father? Oh.
Oh, I have mixed emotions.
Daddy issues. Okay, we'll talk about that later.
But I saw a bunch of people that I knew from, like, coming out here as a child that knew my dad, and it was so weird. Dietrich Shelton, if you know who that is, he was there.
I love Dietrich.
And I hadn't seen him since I was, like, a kid, like a small kid, maybe a teenager, I don't know. And so when I saw him at that mic, I was, like, shocked because I hadn't seen him since I moved to Arizona. Then, like, a couple of days later, I go to Urban Beans to get coffee, and I see Dietrich Shelton just there, and I was like, why are you at a vegan coffee shop? Like, I don't understand. Whatever, I just keep walking.
That's
I go
a
inside.
thing, vegan coffee shops?
Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, it's completely vegan. I mean, they have food too. But I go inside, I order coffee, and then I turn around and I see Zach Allen, and I was just like, why are there so many comedians here? And he's like, there's an open mic right now. He's like, are you going to sign up? And I was like, no. And I, like, ran away and went home. But that, like, stuck in my head. I was like, how did I go to this place all the time. How did I just happen to accidentally go in right at the time that a mic was starting, you know? And I don't know, I like astrology and signs and stuff like that.
Stars have aligned.
Yeah, so I was like, ooh, maybe it's a sign.
And then, okay, so why were you frustrated with the first show?
I wasn't frustrated. It felt good, but I don't know, it's just my personality. For like a couple of weeks into it, all of my friends were referring to me as a comedian. They're like, Shan, you're a comedian now. I was like, I'm not a comedian. Or I'd say something and they'd be like, Shan, write that down. And I'd be like, no, it wasn't funny. Like, and I had to like battle with myself before. I was just like, okay, I want to do this. Just do it.
And then so the concierge was your second show, and how did that go?
So the thing that's the most frustrating is that I wasn't sure, because people in the Phoenix comedy scene like know my dad. I wasn't sure. It was hard for me to make jokes about him because I didn't know if I wanted people to know or not. And so the first like few shows that I did in person were like kind of solely based around getting over that fact of like, yeah. So my dad's Charlie Speez. Do you know Charlie Speez?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like, he has a reputation, and so everybody like felt the need to like come up to me and be like, either be like, is that really your dad? Or be like, you know, no matter what people say about your dad, like, I like him, you know, and do this whole thing. So honestly, like the virtual shows of like, it's just the timing. After those first 3, I was like, I don't want to make jokes just about my dad. I don't want to, like, I want to be me. Had a conversation with my friend and like came to that conclusion. So yeah, so those were like my first 3. And that's kind of why I was like, this feels weird. Should I be doing this? Like,
I think that's good that you're developing to be your own person, right? I think it's still great to do jokes about your dad, but there's a time and a place, you know? Maybe where you know it's a scene that knows your dad really well, that would hit very well, or maybe if you're doing a longer set and you talk about parents and, you know, being a daughter and things like that.
yeah.
But, you know, you don't have to rush into it because a joke is never undone.
Yeah.
You got to constantly work on it and figure out what works for you. Do you find it challenging after doing your first 3 shows and then doing a virtual open mic? Like, how did you feel about the response that you get on a virtual open mic, since you're really only hearing the laughter of like the host, right?
So what's cool is actually, so Devonte Easby like puts on a really good mic with my friend Chris, and his was the first one that he did, and at the time, I think the most challenging part about it is you could hear everyone because they would unmute themselves so that they could laugh and stuff like that. But you can't see anybody when it was on. You couldn't see anybody when it was on Skype, so you were just seeing. It was like flashing through different people's faces, and so honestly, my first couple of like virtual mics, I just like. I kind of tuned people out. Like I kind of tuned the response out a little bit, just so I could like. I don't know, focus on.
So do you feel like you're practicing by yourself, kind of?
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I did 2 so far, and to be honest, I'm kind of dodging them a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm not a comedian. I'm a therapist or a life coach, not a therapist. I'm not licensed. So. But yeah, I find that interesting, the virtual mics, and I wonder if it will continue once the comedy clubs are opening back up.
Something that I'll say for them is that I feel really lucky because even though I only have done 3 mics, because of the virtual mics, I've been able to like try jokes out on so many different demographics because there are people coming into the mic from like New York or you know, there was somebody from Ireland in one of them. Just like there was somebody from Malaysia the other day in one.
It's expanding your comedy network.
Exactly. So like that's a positive thing for it. I've also like I've done a few roasts. I hosted a roast on Zoom, and like although there are challenges, I think that it's helping to build, at least for me, like a behavior where I'm always writing, and I'm always trying stuff out.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So what do you feel like you need advice on, whether it's comedy related or life?
I don't know, dude. I just like don't. I've been single now since June. It's the first time I've been single for like more than 2 months. So
are you one of those girls that's always in a relationship?
Yeah, usually I was. Yeah.
Are you afraid of being alone?
I don't think so anymore. I think I don't know. I think now I'm just like bored of being single because
Already? It's like,
yeah, but here's the thing is like it hit me when like quarantine started happening and I couldn't go out and like meet new people anymore. Then all of a sudden I was like, this sucks.
do you like yourself, Shan?
I love to hate myself.
Oh, there
Yeah.
it is. Moment of truth. Go ahead and swallow that down. Yeah. Tell me. So what is it? What is it about yourself that you don't like?
I don't know. I think that I'm just like super obnoxious and I am like, I don't know. I feel like I make myself kind of a victim where I put myself in situations that I know aren't smart situations.
Okay, let's back up just a little bit. Has there been someone in your life that you looked up to, or maybe a past boyfriend that used to call you obnoxious?
Oh, absolutely. I think that, I don't know, I just kind of own things as character traits that people have said about me or I think they're going to say about me. And
You don't have to identify with those things, though, Shan.
yeah, that's true.
I would say, I don't know if anyone's ever called me obnoxious. I don't think so. But I think I'm obnoxious. Let's just be real. I'm super obnoxious. But I love being obnoxious. I like making people feel uncomfortable sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Because, for one, people that can't be comfortable being silly or obnoxious, they're not really living life.
Yeah.
People take life too serious. So I think you should accept you and all your obnoxiousness, or just don't identify with other people place characteristics on you. Like, have you ever been to a job interview or filled out an application and they ask you, ask 5 of your friends, what are their 3 characteristics that they would use to describe you? That's some fucking bullshit. It really is. I think the real struggle is with identifying with anything.
Yeah.
So, do you think that you could embrace the characteristics that you think that you come up for yourself?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like I do a lot of the times, but then when like I'm not received properly or how I meant to be, or I don't know, I upset someone by like just being me, that's when I kind of like, I'm like, oh.
You know, I've struggled in my past with codependency and making people feel comfortable. And I think that there is this fine line between respect for other humans, which there's really not a lot nowadays, and having to change yourself to make someone else comfortable. Right?
Yeah.
People need to take more responsibility for their emotions. Now, if it's someone that you have a really good relationship that you care about, then there's a little bit of compromise, right? You could probably take a little bit of responsibility, especially if you do something like vindictively to rise an emotion out of them.
Yeah.
But if you're being yourself and you're being loving and you're being kind and you're being respectful, and maybe you say something funny or something that someone else finds offensive, that's not on you.
Yeah.
So you have to decide on a case-by-case basis, right? Like which moments, fuck it, that's their problem, right? You're going to get all riled up. You're going to get your panties in a twist. I'm not pulling your wedgie out for you, right? Or if it's a family member, boyfriend, a friend, a girlfriend, right? Someone that you're choosing to commit to and confide in, then maybe, yeah, you could take a little bit of responsibility, but you also have to have that conversation with them that they have to be responsible for themselves and how they feel, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like people tend to avoid that.
Oh, they really do. They really do. Everyone wants to blame everyone else for what they're feeling and their emotions. I still struggle with it. But the thing is, I'm aware now. I'm conscious now of what's triggering me. You know? People are triggered left and right from things of the past, things that have nothing to do with you. So why should you apologize because, I don't know, give me an example of something you did.
I don't know, I'm put on the spot now.
Sorry, I put
No,
you
it's
on the
okay.
spot, but let's say, I'm trying to think of a good example. Oh, like, let's just say you give someone a compliment. Like, oh, let's use Cam Sneed for an example, right? Said, you know what, Cam? He was doing this dating show thing with Lamar Mitchell Jr., and it was, comedians finding someone to date. And I told Cam, if that doesn't work out for you, you let me know. You let me know. I'd be more than happy to try it out with you. And I gave him a little bit of a hug, and the hug was just a little bit too long, right? And I apologize, but it's not my fault that he was uncomfortable. I didn't touch him inappropriately. Maybe I did touch him inappropriately. But, double standards when it's a woman, maybe. I don't know. What was I talking about?
No, I totally get what you're talking about. You're talking about...
I was trying to... It was a terrible example. It was a terrible example. But, yeah, I mean, you can't hold the weight of the world on your shoulders, so to speak. I can tell you're a very strong woman, right? And we take on more than we really need to take. Yeah.
I think I just get bored.
Yeah.
Take on projects.
Yeah.
Cause chaos.
We do. When was the last time you took yourself on as a project, besides the comedy writing?
So I actually got diagnosed last year with bipolar disorder. So that's actually like why I've been single since June pretty much, is because I started going to therapy. I started taking medication. I was in and out of work at my old job, and I was trying to figure out, like, what do I remove? What do I add that's going to help me to feel balanced, help me to feel structured? I think, like, I always look for, like, security. And I used to, like, look for that in relationships. So I think that, like, I've been working on it since, like, June. And there's still, like, bad times, like...
Oh, there's always going to be ups and downs,
Yeah.
even if you're not bipolar. And I have to applaud you for, like, taking responsibility and seeing, okay, what can I do to make this better, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that do you have, like, mood swings that are pretty drastic, or?
I think, like, the worst, honestly, for me is, in the last couple of, like, weeks or whatever, is... like drinking, and it's just
and
when
here
I'm with
I
my
am
friends.
giving
I
you
know.
wine.
No, it's fine.
I'm not licensed. I'm a life coach. There's a difference.
And so, with the medication that I was taking, if I would drink too much, like, I'd black out. And so I hadn't been drinking too much since I've been on the medication until pretty much quarantine. And so of the 3 times that I've ever been blackout drunk in my life, 2 of them have been during quarantine. So I think that...
And how much have you noticed, like, how much it takes?
Yeah, so I just, I do this thing where I chug beer really fast. And it's, like, the thing that I do. It's, like, my party trick.
In college?
I went to school for art and never, went to a commuter school.
I was an art student, too, and I chugged a lot of PBRs in my day.
But, like, I can chug anything. Like, I can chug IPA. And so that's the issue is I'll get, like, a pack of White Claw, which is $15 for 12. When I used to go to Gracie's, it was $6 for 1, And so my limit was 2, and I was fine. But now when you have a whole box and you're just, like, there's nothing else to do, and then you chug 4 White Claws or 9, it's not a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what causes, like, the worst, consequences from my actions and words is like if I drink too much.
Yeah. Well, at least you're aware, right?
Yeah.
And I think you can give yourself a little bit of slack because anyone that drinks is going through that right now.
Yeah.
Everyone. I mean, I saw this really funny TikTok video of a man jogging through his neighborhood on recycling day, and he opened up every single recycling bin on the street, and they were all filled with wine bottles because it was like the first week of lockdown.
Oh my gosh.
So,
So funny.
everyone's resorting to that. First it was the food and supplies, then when he went to the store the second week, all the alcohol was gone.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy. But yeah, there was another question I wanted to ask you. Oh, yes. Are you familiar with your chakras?
I've taken like the Enneagram tests that talk about it, but that's about as much.
I think that would be something helpful to you, and maybe you should consider reading into it a little bit more, because it is about balance and aligning, right? And you had mentioned a few key words that instantly made me think chakras, right? You had said that, you need security, right? You care about what other people are saying about you, right? So security, that's your base chakra, your tribal chakra, feeling rooted and belong to a group, and then feeling feeling like accepted by other people. That could be a couple different things. That could be your solar plexus chakra. That could be your throat chakra. I imagine you probably have a very strong throat chakra because you love the public speaking and you love doing the comedy, right?
Yeah.
So, was there something that happened in your youth that made you feel not secure? How good of a dad is your dad? I think we all want to know.
So my parents had me when they were 16 and 19.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So 2 years into my existence, my dad moved to LA. Mm-hmm. My mom said, no, we're not going to LA. And so we stayed. And so there was I had multiple stepdad, probably 3 or 4 significant ones. Mm-hmm. But I moved to 9 different schools. I never was in one place for very long. Yeah, I actually had planned to move to New York this year, but I made a certain group of friends that I just connected to differently, and I decided to stay. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when I was a kid, I just used to move around all the time.
So your mom remarried a number of times, or she just had boyfriends?
She was engaged to somebody for 8 years, who was a big part of my life, and then she remarried when I was 13, I want to say, and they've been married since then. My dad, I started seeing him more when I was 13. I would come out here for summers because he moved to Arizona. Mm-hmm. And so I would see him over the summer, court mandated, but I would see him over summer and
something,
Christmas, right? or Thanksgiving or whatever that was off and on. I didn't come out every summer. I didn't want to. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah. And so, I've always had a phone friend relationship with my dad. And then my mom was really strict, but also I didn't find her very credible when I was a teenager or a kid because I had witnessed so much. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely relatable. I was kind of phone pals with my biological father as well. However, my mother is still with my stepdad, so he was, my dad growing up, and so I would imagine, though, if my mother was, married and engaged multiple times, that maybe I would pick up on that same habit. So do you see yourself maybe repeating maybe a generational pattern?
I mean, it very well might be. Mm-hmm. The fact that I'm even doing comedy is like the craziest thing to me.
Yeah.
Because I hated it so much.
Did you hate it because your dad was doing
Well,
it?
it's because
Or
he was doing it, and a lot of the jokes were about me when I was a teenager. And so I would come out, I'd be the youngest person in a comedy club or bar,
and he would talk shit about
and he'd be
you.
talking shit about me on stage.
Yeah.
And he'd have some like 24-year-old be like, "Oh, like, what's your name? Like, how old are you?"
Yeah.
I'm like 15. It's not a great experience.
Yeah, a little resentful. So seems like you got a little revenge talking about your dad, though.
Oh, yeah.
But you think you got it out of your system.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because there was a time where I made a joke and he had come on to watch and he thought it was about him, and it wasn't. And I had to be like, like, if I'm gonna joke about you, I'm gonna be able to say it to your face, because I'm probably gonna say your name because it'll go over better, And he was just like, "Oh, well, I respect that. Like, I'm never gonna make a joke like all secretly, like I'm trying to find that word that describes like."
Discreet or like in a sneaky way, or
Yeah, in like a sneaky way, like a passive aggressive way.
Oh yeah, passive aggressive. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say that you're in a place where you need to, or maybe you already found like forgiveness for your parents and how you were raised? Are you in a peaceful place with that?
Yeah. So when I moved out here, I moved out here and I initially lived with my dad, and actually that was like probably the first time that I confronted him about anything, and then I ended up not talking to him for like a year and a half. So just recently, so like when I started doing comedy, pretty much, I started talking to him again because I was talking about him and I didn't want to talk shit behind his back,
That's how I can tell you have such a kind heart, because you could have easily been like, "Yeah, Dad, you talk shit about me on no stage all the time. Now I'm going to talk shit about you." But you were respectful, and, you said, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to be telling jokes." I don't even know if you call him Dad. "Hey, sperm donor, whatever. I'm going to be telling jokes about you on stage. I want you to hear it from me first." Right? That speaks volume on your character,
Appreciate that.
Even though your character doesn't matter, your character's up to you, but it does. It shows that you're a kind person and a kind soul. And, I think you're going to be okay. I really do. I think you'll do well in comedy. I haven't heard any of your jokes yet, but like, you have this spunky personality, you got a cute style, and you got comedy running through your veins. So, yeah. How are you feeling right now?
I think I just feel, I feel good. I just feel really like, I don't know. I feel like really unsure of what happens next, and
That's okay.
that's it.
It's good to be in the unsure, right? If we're truly living in the present, we're not thinking about the future.
Yeah.
Back to square one, where we started, living in the present. So I think being unsure and saying "I don't know" is more than okay. It's actually the right answer. Right? I'm pretty good at this, aren't I?
Yeah. I think
usually
so.
that's what you say, but you weren't saying it. So
I'll write a
figured I'd say
review.
it. Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
I didn't say it would be good, but I told you I'd write one.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's fine. Yeah. As many stars as you like, I'll take it. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that you came in today, and I would love for you to come back again sometime soon, maybe like 6-10 months, maybe a year into your comedy journey, whenever you feel like you want to come back and let me know how things are going.
Sweet.
Yeah. And we have, tons of listeners and viewers out there, and if you want to let them know how they can get in touch with you, find you.
Absolutely. So I just actually started a podcast.
Oh, wonderful.
So I have 2 Instagrams. I have one for the podcast. The podcast is called Seriously Shan.
Is it serious?
No, it's like more like Seriously Shan. Like that's how I picture it.
Okay. Seriously Shan.
Yeah. it's not serious. My last guest threw up on the podcast.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Was there drinking involved?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my podcast. That's going to be SRS, seriously Shan. I don't know how to spell the Instagram tag, but my Instagram is just at Shan Speez. I spelt my last name wrong in honor of my dad for spelling our last name wrong first. It's ShanSpeez.
Nice.
Yeah. Otherwise, it looks like Speez.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here.
Thanks
and
for having me.
Thank you, everybody, for listening and joining in today. If you'd like to get in touch with Shannon and find more information about her, feel free to visit our website at lifecoachingcomedians.com. Be sure to take care of yourself and do yoga daily and meditate and do your yams. Namaste.
Hey guys, I just finished my session. Man, it just went so great, and I feel like my daddy issues are solved, you guys. You're welcome. I think I might come back when my comedy career starts failing.
Oh, Shan, she is just a lovely young lady. I got a little excited when she said she liked girls, but I'm professional. I lied. I have no idea who her father is. So I'm hoping that her father is funny, so she'll do well in comedy. I don't know. She seems like she's gonna be funny. I'm not sure, but I do hope that she does come back and either she'll be a great client or maybe my next girlfriend. We'll see.